Good morning.
Sound of our teen sports listeners, I'm your host, Erica, the queen of teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, another beautiful morning here in Santa Barbara. You've landed on Teen Sports Radio, where every story is a little spark of heart, a little spark of hope, and a lot of hometown pride. Today, I'm super excited. Got another full house today. People are going to be weaving in and out of the show today because of their schedules. It's a real gift, but returning is Barbara Doux. How you doing, Barbara?
Good. Very good. Happy to be back.
She's got an announcement she's going to share with us in a little bit. So let's do this. We've got Dominique Hackett in the house, Don Sanders in the house. Later on, Emily Richardson is going to be sharing a story with us. We also have who else do we have today? Sky. Sky's going to be popping in. So going to be telling us different things that we all need to
help us grow and learn. Be more authentic.
Yeah, I love it. And it's really good info for teens so we could help them navigate today in the modern world. We always like to start the show with gratitude. We love gratitude. Yes. And I'm so grateful for Barbara being here today. So let's do this. Barbara, why don't you start off with some gratitude or an announcement or something? Now I can see your beautiful face. You're all excited about something.
Yes, I do. So first, gratitude because I got other awards for my film. I got Best Cinematography Jury Award for The Heart of France in 80 Days. That will be screened in Santa Barbara on Sunday, 21st of December.
Wow. Look, we're all clapping.
Yay.
So I would like to invite all of you. It will be all the information are on my website. You can go to movie.barbaradoux.com. It's spelled movie, like MOVIE Barbara, BARBARA, DOUX.com. So yes, just like contact me. I can give my phone number. If you can't find things, it's 323-304-2248. And I will send you all the info for the screening. It will be at 4:30.
Yay! That is so exciting.
Yeah. Really proud of you, Barbara. When I met you, you was just that, undiscovered famous photographer that we stumbled onto each other, and you totally hooked me up with a favor. And look what has happened to you since. See what happens when you give out love?
Yeah.
You get love.
So yeah, it will be a nice way to end the year. It's like a documentary film about a woman traveling in a van and drawing a geographic heart with her van in France. So if you like adventure, van, and France, this is the one for you.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
Well, Don Sanders has taken a peeky peek, right?
Yes.
Yep. It's great. It's a travel log, right? Kind of like.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Travel doc.
Well, all I know is I see it face plants award after award after award after award. So you crushed it.
Thank you. See,
I talk in East Coast language. I don't know. And that coach raw. Like, that means you got to go see it. Everyone's got $25. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great thing to celebrate that early holiday spirit on the 21st, Santa Barbara. We need to support. It's time.
I feel like when we see things like this, the love in our heart embraces the entire planet. And we are participating in raising that vibration of love.
Nice. Beautiful. That's good. I'm so proud of you, Barbara. Don, who do you want to give love to?
Well, I was recently, there was a client I haven't seen in about a year, and I didn't know how things were with her, and just recently was able to reconnect. And that's, kind of like in keeping with Barbara and her filmmaking. I'm just grateful when I get to practice my craft, and that's my instrument in semi-retirement. My body work, therapeutic body work, and thanks to you too, Erica and Dominique, for coming over this way a few times recently. And so I'm grateful to still be healthy enough to practice my craft and to to have people coming for me to do it.
Oh, so much love. So much love.
Oh, we go back, baby. You know what I'm saying? If I could be on the nudist colony, you'd be like at a half a dozen men where I wouldn't care. You know what I'm saying? You've seen it all, baby. You know what I'm saying? And I love you. I mean, if it wasn't for you, you're the guy that made me, I don't know, I got up that day when, we were working weekly, on my hip, and I just would not surrender the hip. And then finally, I don't know what you said, something magical from somebody who's had a double hip replacement. I know you just referenced it to the pain because, I was limping, like severely, like dragging, a leg. It was just so horrible. And I did that for almost a year. And boy, I got out of the car. I had a nice big dump, emotional dump and energy dump. And I made a phone call. Like I just Googled. It was so funny. I just said, top hip replacement, whatever. And this was during the, in Santa Barbara, we weren't doing well. It was during the flood, I guess. It was fire or the flood, one of those big things.
Yes.
Anyway, so I went to Dr. Tujayan in Thousand Oaks, got it done. And I will tell everybody, okay, as you get older, why? God, don't do it. Because what happens is you sacrifice other things because your body, when you put it in stress like that, it not when you can fix it, but I just didn't want to surrender a big thing, even though everybody in the planet was saying, it's not going to get better. You can't fix it.
Well, and a note to our teens, if you are in a heavy duty sport like football or, even soccer, some of our, very heavy contact sports, as a teen, you do want to make notes. If you have either gotten a concussion or you've gotten a major sports injury, make a note in a journal of when that occurred, because in 10 or 20 years, you may need to look back on that and help your body, do different things to rejuvenate yourself. But we're here at Teen Sports Radio in order to help teens not get injured.
Well, it's not so much get injured because injuries is part of sports. But what we want to do is really focus on the rest, recovery and rest. Now, I'll be honest with you, I was one of those mothers. Get up. Okay. I'm not going to lie. Get up. You're fine.
And now we're learning.
Now it's like, sit down. No, sit the freak down. That's it. Don't get up. It's all different now. You see how you shift?
Yes.
And before I encouraged you, Erica, I had limped around for the best part of 20 years in great pain, trying every which way I could to rehab my hips without having to have the surgery. And eventually I finally had to have surgery.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, we love you. Dominique, who do you want to give love to? We got a couple of minutes.
We got 1 minute, real fast. I want to give love to all the teens who are taking time to be with their grandparents and their aunts and uncles through the holiday. I know sometimes it takes a lot of patience, and I just want to congratulate you teens for taking the time to be with your elders and learn from them. It's so important.
Yeah.
And it makes our community grow.
Right. Well, I got it. Just last thing I want to do is give a little love to Elijah over at Cox. I did get my new 17. Okay, Cox has got a really killer deal. I think it's good till the end of the month, but if it's not, you tell Elijah that Erica said, okay? And let's see how much trouble we can get Elijah in, okay? Because we love free phones. Free is good, and 17s are the best. So let's do that. First up, we've got Emily, our wonderful, beautiful songbird. She's going to tell us, my eyes water. She's going to tell us a story. We're going to have that up right next after these messages.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
This is Emily the Songbird, and today I have an episode of Teen Tones, a story of inspiration, healing, and growth. I am part of a hiking class through SBCC, and we went on a beautiful hike this week to Elwood Beach. And I don't know if you've ever been there, but it is gorgeous. It is a beautiful place. The weather here in Santa Barbara has been just spectacular. And we were hiking along the beach, and one of the men in the group, a friend of mine, said, "Did you know that there is a wind phone here?" And I didn't know what a wind phone was, so I said, well, what is a wind phone? And he told me that a wind phone is a symbolic object. It's a place where the living speak their unsaid words to the dead, carried away by the wind. And that it actually began in Usuchi, Japan, when a man built an unconnected telephone booth in his garden to speak to his lost cousin. And then after this happened, thousands came to pour their grief, their love, their regrets, and longing into that silent phone. Because the phone isn't connected, the idea is that the wind carries messages to those who have passed on. So this week was the anniversary of my dad's death, and I was missing him so much. So I asked my friend if he would show me where the wind phone was. So after our regular hike, which we actually meditate in that hike, and when I was meditating, I had tears coming down my face because I was really missing him. It's during this holiday season, he always loved to sing and dance and sing Christmas carols, and I was just really missing him. So afterwards, my friend showed me where the wind phone was. We did a little hike along Ellsworth Beach, and it's kind of tucked in on the cliff. And so we went down there, and it has a receiver. Of course, it doesn't have a dial tone and it's not connected, but I went down there, and there was actually a sign there of somebody who is creating a film about wind phones and this particular installation. So he said, if you have a story to share, contact him. So I picked up the phone and I talked to my dad. And I told him how much I miss him and how much I am celebrating him in this season, and that I will sing and dance in his honor. And I ask for his guidance to help me to move through the gifts and the challenges of this earthly path that we walk on. And then I had a conversation with my grandparents, and that was a more difficult conversation than with my dad. But I found myself being able to speak my truth and actually go to a level of forgiveness that I haven't felt in the 50 years that I've been on the planet. And so it was really wonderful because I realized that I could speak and I could express what was really on my heart. And so I just invite you teens because we've all been through loss, and maybe those losses, they might be losses of life, of parents or grandparents. They also might be losses of opportunities or loss with friendship, or whatever that is. Maybe you didn't get on the sports team you wanted, or you didn't get the part in the play, or but there are ways that we can grieve those losses and actually even create an adventure around it. There are at least 300 of these wind phones in the United States, and they're also all around the world. So it is a symbolic, a symbolic representation of, how we can grieve these losses. And so during this time, there can be great joy and great celebration, and I hope that it is that way for you and your families around the globe. But if you are sad and you are you are feeling lonely or feeling misunderstood, or you can always, even if you can't find one of these wind phones, you could sing, you could dance, you could write in a journal, you could give yourself a hug. You could ask somebody for a hug. We aren't alone in this journey. And so I just hope that if you hear these words and you're, missing a little bit of connection, that you'll reach out to somebody and you'll remember how precious and beautiful and wonderful that you are, just as you are. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to buy the perfect gift. You just need to show up and be you. So I hope that you have a magical, musical, miraculous holiday season, and that you remember that you are the gift. This is Emily the Songbird, and I invite you to come and visit my website at emilythesongbird.com or my YouTube site at Emily the Songbird 2306. And you can come to my guitar class on Wednesday night in Goleta. You can reach out to me if you want to share your heart, you want to make some music, and we can celebrate together. Many blessings.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Welcome back to Teen Sports Radio, everyone. This is Sky Ellsworth, and I'm a student at Life Chiropractic College West in Hayward, California. And as always, I am so excited to be here with you all, especially today, because I have some really fun stories to share and some really cool lessons that I've learned from them, and hopefully you can take something from them as well. So one of these stories I've told before, but I want to reiterate it and talk a little bit about a part two that happened along with it. So a couple months ago, when our baby was born, she faced a lot of challenges initially, and there was this night when I was in the NICU, and in the NICU they have a whole bunch of babies everywhere. They have these little stations, and per room there's usually a capacity for around 20 babies, and this particular hospital, everything was full. And because it's the NICU, a lot of the babies have experienced a lot of trauma, so there's just blood-curdling screaming and crying all around you, and it's a pretty emotional and heart-wrenching experience. And it's kind of, numbed by the fact that they have all the babies there hopped up on all sorts of drugs and opiates and whatever, just to, try and keep them calm. And it's the only way that they know how to deal with it. So I'm sitting there one night, and all of a sudden I'm looking at my baby, and I'm holding her, and she's covered in tubes and wires and this cooling blanket, and it was very intense, but I was holding her, and I was just feeling so much energy, so much love for this baby, and it increased my energy state. And we've talked a little bit about energy rich and energy super rich before, and what that's like, and how when you're in that flow state, you're just guided. The information that everything that you stop looking at it from your head, and you start really feeling and embodying it. You start to be led by that force that is so much greater than you, whatever you believe that to be. So in this moment, even though she was covered in the blanket, and I felt that energy richness, I looked at her and I knew exactly where to go. I knew where to make a contact. I knew to make a contact on her sacrotuberous ligament on the left, and then on the right, all the way up at her neck around C2, the cervical C2 vertebra, axis vertebra. And I felt those gateways, and I made those contacts and I knew exactly how and when to do it. And I couldn't quite touch the baby's skin because of the blanket that was wrapped around her. And when I made the second contact, all of a sudden her face, which had been really kind of pale and kind of jaundiced a little bit, when I made that contact, her face instantly flushed a bright, lively red. And every single baby in the room stopped crying at the same time. And it was the first time that doing this work, this style of chiropractic, that I've really ever seen a miracle like that. Something that could so powerfully affect the field that it affected the entire room. And that was the baby that did that. And each one of us has a field around us that is extending out into the larger field, the epi field that goes around everyone and everything. And we're all communicating with that field, with our own field. And the data that's in our field transfers, and the data that's in the field at large will transfer to us. That's why we have these things called cultural fields that we've talked a lot about before. So when that happened and every single baby stopped crying, and just this calm washed over the room, it was just a reminder that when we're energy rich, no matter what stands in our way, like in my case, the cooling blanket, not necessarily knowing what I was doing, having never entrained a baby before, never done any chiropractic work with a baby or any kid really, and just knowing exactly what to do because I knew all the information. I just didn't know when. I didn't know how. There were a lot of factors that I didn't know, and I was just led. I was just guided, and that's what happens when you're energy rich. All of a sudden, you're not trying anymore. You're being led. So a couple nights ago, because of everything that the baby went through in the NICU. She's very, very fussy, very well, I should say she was very, very fussy, very particular, about everything. And she would just have these screaming fits and tantrums and, what is classically described as colic, but is generally believed to be more emotional type of stuff, often related to trauma from childbirth. The baby was lying on a table and she'd been screaming for quite a while. And all of a sudden, I just found myself, I was able to access that energy rich state without trying, without thinking about it. I was able to just embody my purpose. I was able to align myself with that so fully that I was filled with bliss. I was able to get out of my own way, get out of my head, and let that other force come through and tell me exactly what to do. And it did, and I made a contact, just one, on the sacrotuberous ligament again. And I knew the depth, I knew the intention, the objective, everything, and I made the contact. And all of a sudden, within seconds, the baby, Abigail, I should call her Abby, she instantly stopped crying. Her eyes started to drift down asleep. And within a couple more seconds, she was out. She was just completely out like a light. And when she woke up, she was a different baby. And she's been a different baby ever since. Now she only cries when she wants or needs something ASAP, but there's no more of that colicky stuff. Now she's just an absolute delight. And we'd have, periodic moments of that before, but this is different. Now this is her personality. She's someone different. She's a different baby. And it's just such a delight to be with her all the time. The point that I'm trying to make is that when you embody that higher energy state, that energy richness, when you align yourself with your purpose and you're fueled by that, and you're able to recognize that you're not enough and step out of the way. And again, we've talked about this many, many times. Go to where your resources are, whether you're external and your resources are out there, whether you're internal and your resources are coming from within and projecting out. Getting in alignment with where that energy is, with where your fuel is, with where what drives you is and learning how to access that, practicing it, how to access energy rich at any time, and then just noticing what happens. What happens if you're in the grocery store and you get energy rich? There was a time a couple of quarters ago at school, and God, there was this professor who was just ranting and rambling, and it was just very heady. And the guy was just kind of missing the point of all of it. I just took a moment just as an experiment, and I aligned myself with my purpose, and I just imagined that I was projecting out into the field my consciousness, that higher state of energy. And all of a sudden, the instructor took this big, deep breath, and he called for a 5-minute break. And he hadn't done that before. So experiment with it. Figure out what gets you energy rich. Truly, this is a game changer for everything that you do. It makes games so much easier. It makes school so much easier. Everything that you do all of a sudden becomes easy when you're aligned with what it is you're supposed to do, when you're being led by your objective, when you're being led and driven by your passion. When that energy richness is there and it's guiding you, the only thing that can happen are miracles. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great week.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Hello, Teen Sports Radio family. It's Dominique Hackett, Santa Barbara Wellness Center, and I'm gliding in on a surfboard in winter, ready to talk about something huge. It's bigger than your group chat. It's bigger than the AP bio test you forgot about today. Maybe it's even bigger than, I don't know, the line at Trader Joe's on a Sunday. Yeah. Today we're going to talk about social pressure. And this is the big brain squeezer. It's actually a topic that is like one of the number one search topics on the internet, how teens can best survive and handle social pressure. And honestly, it makes sense because being a teen today is like living inside a never-ending reality show where you didn't audition for it, but somehow you're the star, you're the producer, and you're the lighting crew. So let's break it down. Social pressure is normal. You're not glitching. If you feel your chest gets tight, if your brain goes into the should I or shouldn't I, your stomach does that Olympic twisty-turny thing, it's called being a human teenager with a functioning nervous system. Even adults feel it. Even your teachers feel it. Even your dog feels it sometimes when you try to put him in a sweater. You're not broken. You are brave. And you need to just breathe and recognize this is part of being a teenager. And understand the invisible scoreboard problem. Here's the secret. Most social pressures come from an invisible scoreboard that only you can see. You think people are judging your outfit, or they're judging your grades, or they're judging your acme, or they're judging your performance in practice, or they're judging your silence in a group chat. But guess what? They're not. They are too busy worrying about their own invisible scoreboard. Everybody thinks that everybody else is looking. And, well, nobody is actually really looking. It's a wild cosmic prank. So what I want you to do is try a tiny rebellion trick. Social pressure wants you to move like a robot, but you're a rare Pokemon with an original spark. So try this. Do one tiny thing every day that proves you're not controlled by the pressure. Here's some examples. Wear mismatched socks on purpose. Say no thanks when everyone else is saying, yeah, sure, whatever. Sit with someone new. Speak up when your voice trembles. Say, I don't like it, and then don't like it. Tiny little rebellions build big confidence. So do something every day that reflects your authenticity instead of reflecting you bending from social pressures. All right. And you can use a 3-breath reset. When social pressure is squeezing your brain like a lemon over a salad, pause. Do 3 slow breaths. Inhale, and you say, this moment is temporary. Exhale, I choose my actions. Inhale, I get to be me. Exhale, and being me is enough. Because you being you is enough. You bringing your beingness to the game. That's what it's all about. Your nervous system will immediately stop acting like a squirrel who drank a Red Bull. You want to build your inner squad. Now, not the people you're hanging out with, but the people you listen to. That's your inner squad. It should be friends who hype you up. The coach who sees your potential, the teacher who believes in you, the adult who reminds you you're more than your stress. And you've got your future self cheering you from 10 years ahead saying, you're doing amazing. When your inner squad speaks louder than your fake fears, the social pressure melts like an ice cream cone in July. This one truth will save you years. You ready? Peer pressure gets weaker when self-respect gets stronger. When you respect yourself enough to say, I don't want to do that, or that's not me, or I'm choosing different. Suddenly, the pressure loses power. It's like unplugging a giant inflatable holiday Santa. Gone. And here's your magic sentence for the week. Whenever you feel social pressure, say, I don't need to fit in everywhere. I just need to fit in with myself. Boom. Instant armor. I don't need to fit in everywhere. I just need to fit in with myself. Whoa, look, the world is loud right now. Expectations are loud. Social media is loud. Friends groups are loud, and the chats, and well, your thoughts can get loud too. But your inner voice, that's the one worth tuning into and tuning up. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to agree with everyone. You don't have to say yes to things that feel wrong. You just have to be you, the version that feels honest, kind, real, and aligned. And I promise that's enough. That's more than enough. It's legendary. You've got this. Thank you, listeners, and to all teens. Be good and do good. God bless. And let's go, Santa Barbara.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
For Teen Sports Radio, I'm Don Sanders, donsmassageohio.com, 805-236-2684, and I'm here to bring you a hygge. It's a Scandinavian term for a comfy, cozy feeling akin to receiving a hug, but without actually receiving the physical hug. And so, today we're going to consider receiving hugs with words. I happen to practice Buddhism from, the Japanese perspective. That was, about 700, 800 years ago, 3,000 years ago. Most of us all heard about Shakyamuni. And I think a lot of people in the teachings that he did, in the many volumes of the Lotus Sutra, they think about somebody maybe giving a big public lecture, but actually what he excelled in was one-to-one communication. Like he'd be the first one to say hello. He would say, he would address them and like, why so down? Come talk about it, that kind of thing. Very approachable. And so no matter how profound the teaching, something Sky said today also put me in mind of Shakyamuni. he said, when Sky was talking about, you have all the info, but you need to be with it in such a way that you connect with another person. And that was Shakyamuni's whole thing. The important point, whether we get our message across to somebody, and gain their understanding, everything starts from there. If somebody feels comfortable, like, oh, that's somebody I can talk to. Well, that's a great thing to find or have or be for somebody in this world. And that's basically, for all the fame and everything we hear historically about Shakyamuni. I mean, there's a story about he was trying to encourage a farmer who was down on his luck a bit. And, the guy says to Shakyamuni sarcastically, why don't you plow and sow? Why don't you plow the fields and sow seeds? And Shakyamuni said, I am plowing and sowing. He said, my seeds are faith and I cultivate with the plow of wisdom. My harvest is deliverance from all cares. And so that's the thing. We've all been through, and we are probably going through right now, experiences where we think, maybe sometimes we feel no hope, or how do I get to the other side of this? But every time you live through one of those things, then you get stronger. And then to temper yourself and still keep, some heart and some kindness, we need to be able to have one-to-one dialogue with many, many good friends. A lot of people think that Shakyamuni, came to his enlightenment all by himself. Actually, it was just dialogue with 5 old friends that finally got him to a place where he goes, you know what? I think I really have something here. I think I'm going to take this on the road. And they said he was always walking and talking. Kings wanted to talk with him. Poor people wanted to talk with him. And he was walking the miles, except for in monsoon season where there was too much rain to get out and about. But otherwise, he was out walking and talking. So, anybody have any thoughts here on the team?
What?
That is so beautiful. So you're referencing Shakyamuni, who is the original person that we know as the Buddha?
Yeah.
And it's so interesting.
Of course, Dominique would know that. Like, I'm looking at Dominique and I'm like, I'm mouthing, lip syncing Shakyamuni. Like, I have no idea. I never heard that at 64 years on this planet.
So when I was a teen in school, I was asked to read Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse.
Right.
And when I think about the stories of the Buddha, and it's so beautiful. So teens, you should know that when you get a chance to study history or even comparative world religions, you learn beautiful cultural stories all around the planet. And Hermann Hesse took the story of who we know as the Buddha, and the way that he crafted the story is just, oh my God, it just touches your heart. So if you've never read anything about the Buddha or Buddhism, highly recommend it, the story Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. And it's a very small book. It doesn't take long to read, but it really, really touches your heart. And like you were saying, Don, life is about connection and about how we affect one another.
Yeah,
I say it's just I always use the analogy of throwing a rock in the pond, right? It's a ripple.
Right.
Well, it goes to the banks and then it comes back, always comes back.
Yeah.
So that's why we are all connected.
Yeah. And Shakyamuni, that was said to be 3,000 plus years ago. And it's everybody. Everybody has the same sufferings as a human being. I wanted to say something earlier when Dr. D was sharing is, we're all subject to birth, sickness, old age, and death. There's no getting around it. Everybody has to confront the 4 sufferings of life. And so Buddhism came up as a way to understand that and not get totally discouraged by life throwing you hard times or whatever it is, get stronger and find a way to help others.
Thank you so much, Don. What a beautiful lineup today, from Emily's walk to the wind phone, to Sky's joy with his baby Abby, loving and blessings to them, to Sonia and Sky this holiday season, first baby Christmas with the new baby, Abby. Oh my God. Dominique's opening hearts with the social pressure. Of course, Don, what you've brought to the table. Let's all get out there and get Barbara Doux on the 21st. We got to check this out. Very excited for her.
Increase love.
Absolutely. I mean, these are moments. Go ahead.
And the film is exactly what Dom's were talking about. I started the film because I felt disheartened and I wanted to connect with friends and my family and my people and understand why I had so much of a trouble to connect with people. So I just took a van, took my camera and started to meet strangers and interview them about this struggle that we all have to connect. So it's very much linked. And I've grown so much out of that. And it's very heartfelt. And I'm really hoping to bring this love to Santa Barbara.
Nice. So this is all a wrap up of moments to remind us that what it means to show up for ourselves, for each other, and for those for this town, Santa Barbara, that we all call home. So thanks for spending this last hour with us. All right, to all our teens out there, be good, do good, and keep shining your light. God bless Santa Barbara. See you next week.